Don't giggle for 16 minutes this time.
All right. I'm Hawk, because I sound like a country bumpkin half the time. Not either world. I'm wearing a different shirt. Brown. Tan. All right, let's do the intro.
Okay.
Hi. I'm Hawk.
And I'm Hartlee.
And we're here to talk about books. Eye of the World is come and gone. And we are moving on to The Great Hunt.
Yeah.
You sound so excited.
I like this one better than the last one.
Is it fair to say that the writing style hasn't changed much as far as...
It's still Tolkien Light.
Still Tolkien Light.
Tolkien Jr.
Tolkien Jr., yeah. Yeah, we got another, 2 books before we...
The pacing is just better.
Pacing is better.
The pacing is much, much better.
Yeah, you don't have to rely quite so much on Rand's point of view.
I actually am the least interested in Rand. Rand interests me the least out of everyone.
Okay.
The girls interest me more right now.
Fair. Okay, so how did you like seeing the White Tower and kind of seeing a little bit more...
Okay, the White Tower is jacked up.
The White Tower is jacked up. But that kind of, you're getting a deeper look into how the One Power works. I know you've talked to me before and said that you felt like the magic system was soft. Like a Gandalf style. Gandalf can do things. We don't know how he can do things, but he can do things.
Well, no, I said it had the appearance of being soft.
Okay. Moraine can do things.
But she can't do everything. In the first book, she comes to help with the knife with Matt, and she says, I can fix this, sort of, but it's kind of a Band-Aid. I don't have enough juice to fix it all the way. Mm-hmm. Which means there has to be some rules underneath there. So it does have the appearance of being soft, but there was rules underneath there.
Okay, but now you're starting to see these rules.
Right, and as we got into this second book, you're starting to see what those rules are and what the consequences are of pulling that much. I knew that there was a consequence for the male side of the power in that he has to deal with the taint, which is going to make him go bat crazy.
Yeah.
But there's rules under there. I think we're going to get them as we go through, and that's kind of annoying and kind of cool at the same time, but it's not as soft as it appears right now.
I will say, being that Jordan's the kind of guy that or kind of author that tends to, he'll repeat himself a little, just to kind of make sure people are always remember. Well, I mean, you're 2 books in. Wait till you get to the end of the 14th one. He, especially with the One Power, because you have seen just the smallest little piece of what these women are capable of. And, what Rand does is still kind of a complete mystery.
Yeah, he needs power, so he draws on it, and boom, it's exactly what he needs, and he takes down the bad guy.
Yeah. So, you're gonna continue to learn about the One Power throughout this series. I can say that much and feel like I'm not...
Well, I mean, I would hope so.
Giving anything
I think
away.
It would be disappointing if you didn't.
Okay.
I mean, if Jordan didn't. What I did like was, because like I said, I'm more interested in the girls than I am in the boys right now, what I liked is that they did flesh out. That they became characters in their own right, main characters in their own right. So we're getting more of an ensemble of characters as opposed to a main character and sidekicks, where I understand Rand is supposed to be our main character, but I don't feel like the others are less in any way.
Okay. Well, you do get Perrin really kind of starts to get his own story. Matt still kind of feels like he's along for
Matt
the ride.
Matt can still go die in a hole for all I care. I'm not talking about him. He's still a sidekick. He can still just go be a pincushion. I don't even care that he blew the horn. Like, it's an afterthought. He's just like, and he's a bad friend.
He's not the best of friends in this book. I can say that much.
He's like, thanks, Rand, for coming with me to, like, save my life and find the dagger, but, you know, you're gonna go crazy, so thanks, but no thanks. You'll understand why you're different. He says, you're different. Well, sorry, Matt, you're different. You jack nozzle.
Jack Nozzle. Back to Jack Nozzle. Okay. So, but yeah, like, you know, Egwene and Nynaeve are getting their own story. You know,
Nynaeve's my favorite in this one.
Nynaeve's your favorite in this one?
I mean, I still love Perrin. I don't love him any less. But, like, and Land's still Land. But, like, legitimately, Nynaeve is my favorite. And I think it's because I relate a little bit to her.
Okay. Well, you are a mother. The Emmons Fielders are kind of like
her babies.
Her little baby. She left to make sure they stay safe, and she kind of has that hard-nosed, you're going to do what I say when I say it kind of thing, just like both of our mothers tend to have. Mom, I'm sorry for saying this out loud. Spoiler alert, Cat Swain. Love you, mean it. But that you have no frame of reference for that.
WTF.
Mom, I compared Mom to a character in this book, and she's one of my favorite characters in the whole series, and she nearly choked me to death afterwards.
Like,
she chased me around the house with a wooden spoon.
Oh, so not even like the Vulcan mind like thing like she normally does.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, she might have legitimately tried to kill me.
When I get to that point, am I going to throw something at you?
No.
No, because am I going to agree with you?
I hope so, because then it will validate my point, and Mom will have another person to chase around the kitchen with a wooden spoon. And she won't chase you near as much as she'll chase me. So
she won't chase me at all.
So, but yeah, like, Nynaeve is getting her story. You get to see a lot more of her, which you really kind of appreciate.
There's when they're in the tower and they have to go through the accepted trials, right? And you know how bad Nynaeve's is. Like, it's heartbreaking. Like, it makes you, I mean, I cried, like, real tears down my face.
So we get to see more of what makes Nynaeve tick. Because she does straight up tell you in the first book, like, I came to make sure you guys didn't end up dead and to bring you back home.
Yeah, but she's not bringing them back home at this point.
Yeah, she went to the tower with Elaine because Moiraine's kind of manipulated her into doing it.
But I appreciate the fact that she doesn't just, like, cave. Like, that stubbornness is there.
Yeah.
That she has this hang up with accepting that she is Aes Sedai, and so it affects her magic. Like, I appreciate that. That's real. That's round as far as characterization goes. Mm-hmm. It gives her room for growth. I think that's what I like, the protective nature that she's exhibiting. I like that she's not afraid to go dark to protect her people.
Yeah.
Like, it's gritty. It's real. Like, I appreciate at the end that her form of justice is just a little bit screwed up.
Yeah, just a little bit twisted.
Yeah, but I like it. I'm there for it.
Like, she's disgusted with herself the entire time, but she's just like, but if there was a woman on the face of the planet that deserves what I'm doing to them, it's this one, and anyone like her.
And she makes the comment that, like, most men don't have the stomach for actual justice, and I kind of appreciated that.
Oh yeah,
she's like they'll just kill them and think it's justice, but it's not.
Well, Robert Jordan does a real good job of. I really didn't see usually when you read a fantasy book, there'd be 1, 2, maybe 3 women in the entire series that had an agency of their own. You get what I'm saying? that had power of their own, that had agency of their own.
It looked like it was going to be that way in the first book, but I'm doubting that now. I'm thinking that we are going to get to see. I kind of want to know what his wife's like. She's probably a badass.
Oh, Harriet?
Yeah, she's got to be. Like,
well, she's his editor, so...
Yeah, she's got to be a badass.
So, but like, Robert Jordan does do a good job of portraying strong women. Not just, it's not just Moraine. It's not just Nynaeve. At this point, you've met Moraine, you've met Nynaeve, you've met Egwene, you've met Swan Sanche, you've met Lyanna, you've met a whole bunch of other Aes Sedai, not to mention Elaine, Borghese, the Queen of Andor. Like, you've met a slew of very powerful women in their own right, Yeah. And you usually don't get that from a fantasy novel that was started back in 1990. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like Tolkien. There's what, 3?
Yeah.
In the main Lord of the Rings?
And they're all kind of like angelicized, if that makes sense.
Well, 2 are actual like elves, and one's been around for as long as almost forever.
I just mean they're kind of put on a pedestal and surrounded in glowing lights.
Well, yeah. You've already compared him to Tolkien Jr., so... and then Éowyn. You get to spend a decent amount of time with Éowyn. And, but...
I mean, Éowyn's the only one that's not angelicized, in my opinion.
No. But this... He does a good job of showing men and women have power, have agency, have their own story.
You're talking about Tolkien or Tolkien Jr.?
No, I'm talking about Robert Jordan.
Robert Jordan does a great job with it.
Yeah. Because Egwene makes her decisions for Egwene, Nynaeve makes her decisions for Nynaeve. Men and Elaine make their decisions for men and Elaine. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think Nynaeve wishes that the others would make decisions because she made them for them, but...
I would disagree with you, but... Okay, so Nynaeve's your favorite character.
Nynaeve's my favorite character in this book.
Matt can still go die in a hole.
Matt's a terrible, crappy friend.
So
he's a jacknozzle.
I don't know that you're ready for my favorite character of this book.
No, I'm ready. Give it to me.
Do you want 3 guesses? I'll give you 3 guesses.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see if you deserve to be smacked for your favorite.
Okay.
3 guesses.
3 guesses.
Let's see. Your favorite last time. It's not the same as last time.
It's not the same as last time. I'll give you that much.
Okay. The sniffer dude?
Huron?
Yeah.
No.
If it's Lanfear, I'm going to throw something at you.
It is not Lanfear.
Okay. I'll put one of these down.
Tom would be a really good guess. He is number 2 in this.
Incidentally, Tom's not dead.
You're right. Tom is not dead. You're right.
So I win.
You win. Tom's not dead.
Tom's not dead. Min's back in the game.
Min's back in the game.
I am 2 for 2, baby.
2. My favorite character of this book is Varen.
Varen?
Varen.
Okay, why?
Why Varen? Again, some of this is shaded by what I know.
Okay.
But you meet this woman who is implied that she's old by Aes Sedai standards, and that's kind of more heavily implied later.
Yeah, I would have accepted you saying that you liked Swan because she's kind of like crotchy and cool and...
Oh, I like Swan too, but you're introduced to this woman, and she's a brown, and you figure out pretty quickly that browns are kind of the intellectuals in a way. They're the librarians.
Yeah.
They're the librarians.
Yeah.
And there's this woman who, when you first meet her, is like, okay, well, I found this dark speech poetry possible prophecy, and she reads it out, and she's just kind of staring off into space as she does. Then she goes, well, that must mean that one of the boys that you came with is the Dragon Reborn.
Well, no shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, and then big explosion, and then she just kind of shows up, and based on what you kind of see in that prophecy or taunt or whatever it is, and what you know from the Creathon cycle, if you were really paying attention, before they go to Toman Head, she does that whole draws a spoked wheel in the dirt.
Yeah.
And, Ingtar says he'll go. She crosses one out. And Rand says he'll go, crosses one out. Huron crosses one out. Matt and Perrin crosses one out. And, she says 5 ride forth. That's all she says. And part of the Creathon cycle is 5 ride forth, 4 return. I should probably look up the rest of it, but, it's an important thing.
Because Ingtar dies.
Because it foreshadows Ingtar's death.
Ah, that's cool. I missed that.
Yeah,
I missed that.
So she kind of gets used as a narrative tool to kind of push the Dragon Reborn forward, Rand the Dragon Reborn, and she just kind of does it with this. I saw a snake once. kind of thing. So Varen is my favorite of this book, and the introduction of Varen was fun. Meeting the other Aes Sedai, other than Leandrin, who's just a
not nice word, a word we can't say on camera. A jack nozzle.
She's a jack nozzle.
She's a lady jack nozzle.
She's a rat jack nozzle. So, all right. And my least favorite character still is kind of Matt.
He's a bad friend.
He doesn't do the best job in this book. And you're right. He does blow the horn, and that whole sequence is really cool.
The horn blowing is cool. All of the past heroes showing up is cool, and they're funny.
Oh yeah, they're hilarious.
And
that whole sequence from beginning of them going, well, what are we going to do? And Matt going well, whatever. And then the fog comes up. The heroes start kind of materializing. And then they just kind of saunter up like a battle's not about to happen. And they're just like, hey, where's the banner? Oh, you got this because a woman got you here. That's just like you, Luce Theron. They're like, eh.
That's what I mean. It was funny.
Yeah, it was a good time.
And they know things. But Matt is,
Yeah, he's still rough. Okay, so
I'd throat punch him if he was a real person.
What would you say would be your favorite moment of this book?
I have to pick one. Actually, I have several in this one.
Okay.
It was easy last time because I really
only had one.
Well, I mean, there were things I liked, but there was a clear favorite.
Rattle them off for me.
I liked the dark moment at the end with Nynaeve. It was real. It was gritty. I enjoyed it. It was rough. It was a little twisted, but I would call it a top 5.
Okay.
I liked Ingtar's redemptive moment there at the end.
Beautiful.
It was gorgeously written. The fact that every man gets to choose when to sheath his sword, and that he's basically saying, I hope this, when he went through, he saw all these different endings and none of them redeemed him. Maybe this one, but he didn't see this one, and he has to pay this price.
Yeah.
And it was gorgeous.
It's a good moment.
Yeah, it was well written and I liked it. So I would say those two.
Okay. Yeah, for me, Ingtar's sacrifice at the end is definitely one of the big moments that really sticks out for me in this book. When I got there, I was just I'd say page turning, but I listen on audiobook because I
was page turning.
Yeah.
I yelled at people that interrupted me while I was sitting on the couch.
Oh yeah, someone called me the first time that I was in the middle of it, and I answered it rather rudely. It was probably like, "Hey, you 12-letter curse word, what are you doing interrupting my story?"
Yeah.
All right. Well, you are 2 for 2 on predictions.
I am 2 for 2.
Do you want to take a shot at predictions for the next book? Or just the series in general? We'll just keep tally as you go.
I don't really have any predictions so much as I just have like what I feel like are logical conclusions.
Okay.
So obviously we're not done with Celine/Lanfear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being that she's forsaken and all that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew she was trouble like from the second she turned up on the page.
Taylor Swift start playing in your mind?
Yes.
Okay.
I knew you were trouble. Sorry. But yes, she like because of the way she was introduced, because even Loyal was just like enraptured by her.
Yeah.
Like she was trouble. I didn't like her. She was shady. She made him do things that like were obviously not the right thing to do.
He normally wouldn't have done.
Yeah, and she pushed at it.
Yeah.
So she's a jack nozzle.
She's a jack nozzle.
She's gonna keep being a jack nozzle.
That's safe.
Yeah, it's safe. It's just more of a logical conclusion, really. I think Egwene is gonna have some PTSD. If she doesn't, I'm going to be disappointed. Like, it's not going to feel real. Like, she went through some tough stuff. Like, if she doesn't have some hangups and some processing with that, and she's just, like, fine in the next book, I'm going to be disappointed in Jordan. I'm just...
Okay. That's fair.
So, like, she should have some issues.
Okay.
Some hangups. But I don't think we're done with the Shan-Chan, right?
Shan-Chan.
Yeah. So... I guess that's
that kind
of
goes back to your men thing. You don't that's a really big toy. Why would you just?
Yeah. And so because I don't think we're done with them, and I think that they will come back around, I think we'll get to see Egwene flip out. Like anytime they're kind of mentioned or they come into play, or if they are confronted by them, I think she'll flip out. Because if she doesn't, that's not real.
Well,
like at least the first time.
That's fair. That's fair.
Just, yeah, she went through some shit. Like,
yeah, no, she did. She definitely did.
So
they were not nice to her.
I mean, we're not done with men. She's been in this one. She'll be there. She is one of my favorites. She's not my favorite because Nynaeve's my favorite right now, but I like her.
Okay. All right. We're gonna get to our rating.
Okay.
So out of 5, what are you giving her?
4, because it had to be okay. It's not my favorite book that I've ever read, so it can't be a 5 out of 5. And it was better than the last one, which I gave a 3 out of 5. Therefore, 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
The pacing's better. The characters are more interesting. They're fleshing out. They're developing. They're growing. I'm still not a huge Rand fan. I'm waiting for that to happen. I still think Matt can go die in a hole, but I'm waiting for him to get likable. And I don't know. I like that. Our villains are real and round and complex, and I liked that there was some redemption for Ingtar, even though he had made the wrong choice. It was a good book.
Yeah, it was a good book.
It was a page turner there at the end.
My scruples aren't as high on giving 5 out of 5. Like, it doesn't have to be the best book I ever read, but it has to be.
It has to be even with the best book that I've ever read.
Well, it has to be close in my mind.
Like next week when you read Pride and Prejudice, like spoiler alert, like it's a 5 out of 5. It's a banger.
Well, we'll see what I give it. But
for me,
well, I'm just saying, like, you know, that's why we're giving 2 different ratings. You know, that way you can rate according to your standards, and I can rate according to my standards.
Yeah. So this one was a 5 out of 5 for you.
This one's a 5 out of 5 for me. I'll say. In the series, it's top 5.
Is it your favorite in the series?
It's not my favorite in the series, but it's top 5.
I was just gonna be like, it's your favorite in the series, and I'm done. Like, it doesn't get better than this. I'm just gonna stop now, right?
No. It's not my favorite in the series. It's one of my favorite. Honestly, I think book 4 is my favorite, but followed very closely by book 14.
Well, I'm a ways from there.
Yeah, like, so 5 out of 5 for me. Like you said, it moves so much better.
Oh yeah, and it's a page. Like I said, it's a page turner at the end.
Yeah, and the characters are doing interesting things at almost all times. You know.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciated that it's an ensemble cast now. Mm-hmm. It's not a main character and their sidekicks. I mean, except for Matt.
And the world got so much bigger. The world got so much bigger. Not just because
you got people coming from across the ocean that we thought were
we got that
not a thing anymore.
We got another group of people coming from the other side of the Dragon Wall looking for somebody.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and that was just a little, almost a throwaway scene.
There are no throwaway scenes in Jordan.
There are no throwaway
scenes. This I'm learning.
So, all right. Next week, I'm reading Pride and Prejudice. I'm actually starting it tomorrow. And we'll see, like, whether or not...
It's a 5 out of 5. It's a banger. You're going to love it.
All right. Well, until next time, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Hartlee.
And we're done talking about books for now?
Well, at least for you people.
You know what I'm saying?
You can just say my standards are too high.
That's what I said.
Maybe you could just say it like that.
I must confess that any casual form of intercourse that we've shared where we are abstractly and absolutely in sync is a pleasure beyond measure. You want to see a trick? It's in my hand.
You don't even try to throw it.
Now it's in her hand.
It's just a camera trick.